Thassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo thassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo thassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavaraham samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu. Anuttaro purisadamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Namo tassa samma sambuddhassa. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipassiko apanayiko pachatang veditabbo vinnuhiti. Namo tassa niyanika sadammasa. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sango samichi patipanno bhagavato savaka sango yadidam chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sango ahuneyo pahuneyo dakkineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Namo tassa atta arya puggala mahasangasa. Sadhu. So this today's topic is like so many instructions Buddha he gives, he advises one lay person. Again, there are two important intentions here or learnings here. In this sutta, which was given to one lay person, his name is Sigala. So it's called Sigalaka Sutta, Sutta to Sigala, or it's also called Sigalo Vada Sutta, Sigala Vada Sutta. Vada means like instructions, advices given by Buddha to this Sigala. So in that name also many people they refer this discourse Sigala Vada, Sigalo Vada. Vada means like advising, instructing. It's also called like say suggesting, very mild suggesting also, and it also like say firmly. It's not like reprimanding, it's like firmly saying something. In that sense also this word Vovada is used. So in that way, so this is also called Sigalo Vada Sutta. And in short it is also called Sigalaka Sutta. The discourse given to Sigala, a lay person, or the instructions given to Sigala, a lay person. And what is the background for this instruction, for this sutta, for this discourse? This Sigala is a young man. He lost his father, and because of his great concern to his father, and he started worshipping the 6 directions. Early morning he woke up and he went to the river, nearby river, and he took shower in the cold, and he started in his wet clothes. He came out and he started worshipping the 6 directions. That time Buddha was also going there, and he was on his morning walk, and when he saw this Sigala, and intentionally he came to Sigala because of course he was a good person. This Sigala, he was a good boy or a good young man. And he was quite intelligent also, but he was into some quite some pressure, maybe from his religion, from his people, that he became little blind in some of the rituals that he was practicing. And to give him more wisdom and to make him a more perfect householder. After all, his father was also a devotee of Buddha, and out of compassion to his father and also to the son of that person, that means this Sigala, he came to this Sigala and he saw this Sigala worshipping or prostrating in the 6 directions. So what are the 6 directions that he was prostrating, he was worshipping? He was worshipping, of course, the 4 cardinal directions like this: north, south, west, east, and also the zenith and the nadir. Zenith means like upward direction and the nadir means like the downward direction. So all these 6 directions he was worshipping again and again. 6 times, 14 times, 18 times, 30 times. So he used to worship all these 6 directions by prostrating towards that direction, full prostration. And he was worshipping, and Buddha asked him, what are you doing and why you are worshipping this? And that of course he was also having great reverence to Buddha, and he just bowed down to Buddha and he showed his respect to Buddha and he prostrated to Buddha, and then he started explaining like that was the instruction given by his father before his death, to prostrate in the 6 directions early morning, to wake up and to take shower and in the river, and to prostrate in the 6 directions, worship the 6 directions, worship these different directions in this world. So that was my father's instructions. So I am following this. So of course that was the practice maybe during those days, Buddha's time. So that's what I am doing. That way, this Sigala, he gives the explanation for his behavior, for his worshipping the 6 directions. Then Buddha asks him, that is not the way to show respect to the 6 directions. It is good that showing respect to 6 directions is fine, but the intention in your mind, it should be much more clear why you are worshipping the 6 directions. So then he requests, please explain me what should be the intention before my worshipping, before I respect something or someone or some direction. What should be the intention? So many people nowadays, if they do something good, or they think that they are doing something good, so they should also have, even now, some intention, some purpose behind the work they are doing. And some people say absolute selflessness, I want to do some service out of absolute selflessness. So even that selflessness also, there is a purpose. That is, with that selflessness you get some joy, some inner joy, some purity. And how it gives some purity, that idea also you should have. Then it will become a pure wise ritual or wise practice. Then you will be more committed to that kind of practice and it will give better results. So that is the idea of Buddha's teaching to this young man. And of course this is like one very code of discipline, very perfect code of discipline for the lay people. So many instructions Buddha gives in this. Maybe today's Dhamma talk may not be possible to cover all the instructions given by Buddha in this discourse. Maybe some 50%, if possible, we can cover the different instructions given by Buddha to this lay person, this young man. And this is like it is suitable, it is like it holds good for all kinds of lay people in the present world also. Not only during the time of Buddha, even today, these instructions are quite suitable for all the lay people. Because one has to interact with so many kinds of people, and what are the instructions that one should keep in mind before having the transactions with different kinds of people and before doing different works. And after all, his profession or his family life, his social life, his professional life, how one has to deal with one's own language, one's own behavior, one's own intentions. So a lot of insights one may get if they go through this discourse. So I will give a few tips, maybe a few points which are quite relevant even today. So of course a few things which may not be relevant today, it is also there, but still many points or discussed or given by Buddha to this young man, which are very much relevant even today. So when this young man, when he was like, how can I worship these 6 directions with more intelligence, with more wisdom, with more higher intents, with better intent? How can I worship these 6 directions? Please instruct me. In that way he requests Buddha to give instructions about the purpose of worshipping the 6 directions. Then Buddha gives, like say, 6 directions. They indicate 6 kinds of people that you have to deal with, that you have to communicate or interact with, or you have to have the transaction with. 6 kinds of people in your life. As a householder, you have to deal with 6 kinds of people. So when you are worshipping these 6 directions, remember those 6 kinds of people with whom you have to deal with, and how to deal with those 6 kinds of people. That also you remember. It's like training the mind when you are worshipping the 6 directions. Of course, there are some divine beings who protect in these 6 directions. That protection also you will get. In addition to that, you remember the instructions that how you have to deal with the 6 kinds of people that every day you have to interact with. Then it will become a superior knowledge, superior worship, superior practice, superior spiritual practice. So which will again reinforce these instructions. This behavior will reinforce in your mind, and accordingly you can interact with the people with more intelligence, with more skillfulness, with better mind, superior mind. Then all your interactions will be good. Then all your transactions with the world will be good in all aspects. In social life, in professional life, in spiritual life, in family life, in all aspects, you can have a harmonious relation and have a successful relation with all these different kinds of people. So in that way, so what these 6 directions indicate with regard to 6 kinds of people that you have to deal with every day. The first one is the eastern direction. The east direction represents your father and mother. Your father and mother. Like say your elderly, say your parents and grandparents, the lineage, like say generally those who are alive, father and mother, if there are grandparents also. So then how you have to deal with your father and mother and your parents and grandparents. What instructions you should keep in handling, dealing with the parents. You know, nowadays all this knowledge has gone because like, of course the family bondage or binding is becoming very weak, and nuclear families and no joint families, and even the nuclear families also, they are becoming very loose. The binding or the connection or the bondage between the individuals is becoming loose, and there is no much dependence on one another in the families. But still, for parents, if one should have definitely a lot of gratitude, because the way they have helped you, so that one should remember, and one should be in that payback mood. Then only it will help your mind in a great way. Lot of guilt you can keep away, and that's what is the life, you know. Whatever we get, we should pay back. If we don't pay back, then it will remain as a debt, and that will trouble. That will create lot of guilt, lot of papa, lot of evil also. That very debt is evil. That very debt is guilt. So to come out of that guilt and evil, that papa, so one have to learn how to properly interact with the parents, and the parents, they represent this eastern direction. So when you are worshipping the eastern direction, you should keep these things in the mind, that how best you can interact with your parents. So what is this instruction given by Buddha to deal with the parents, how to interact with the parents? Like he says, And of course, in this sutra, Buddha gives the 6 ways of say protecting one's own say resources, one's own earnings, not just the monetary earnings. So many kinds of resources one will possess. So protect. So all those different kinds of possessions. 6 kinds of behavior, 6 kinds of what not to do, that also Buddha says, Buddha instructs. And also he instructs what are the 6 ways of handling the people, different kinds of people with whom you have to interact. First we will see the 6 ways of handling the different kinds of people like parents and your teachers and other 6 kinds of people. And then we will see what are the 6 ways of say protecting your sources, your resources, your possessions. Those 6 things also, what not to do and what to do. 6 ways of what not to do, 6 ways of what to do. These in this 6 ways Buddha gives about the importance of worshipping the 6 directions. First we will see the 6 ways of handling the people, what to do. So the 6 ways of what to do with regard to different kinds of people, that we will see. And then we will see what not to do also. So keeping in mind, so the 5 aspects one should keep in mind. So when he is respecting his parents, treating his parents, caring his parents, protecting his parents, 5 points one should keep in his mind. What are the 5 points that one should keep in his mind? Having supported me, I shall support them. That's what I was telling you. It's like when so it's a debt that you have accrued from your parents. So they have protected me from my childhood, or even when I was in my mother's womb. From that time they protected me. So now it is my time to pay back that debt. So that point always one should have in his mind. So now it is my chance, it is my opportunity to pay back. So paying back, that very giving attitude, that's what is the essence of 4 Noble Truths. That one has to apply in all these 6 aspects of what to do and 6 aspects of what not to do. Okay? So this that is what is the beauty of this discourse. So the applied 4 Noble Truths, we can see even for lay people in this discourse, what to do, how to pay back my debt, how best I can give, and how I can rejoice and derive happiness, thrill, joy in this very attitude of paying back, giving, protecting, caring. That's what is discussed here in this discourse. So what is the intent that one should keep when he is handling his parents, protecting his parents, caring his parents, respecting his parents? That means like worshipping the eastern directions. When you are worshipping the eastern direction, remember the parents and how to protect the parents, and let it be in your psyche, in your mind. And accordingly, it's like remembering the instructions of how to deal with people. Then accordingly, based on those repeated instructions that you are giving when you are worshipping, praying the different directions, then it will remain in your mind. That is the beauty of devotion. In any activity where the devotion is involved, then it will become very, genuine instruction that will enter into your mind. It will remain in your mind. Because there will be no ego. When you are worshipping something, then you just surrender to the direction. And when you are surrendering that direction, during that time when you remember the direction signifies my parents, and how to respect my parents, with what intent I should respect my parents, those instructions if you feed to your mind, then they will remain in your mind, and accordingly you behave with your parents. So that's why worshipping, of course, it's not bad. You can do that. That's what Buddha is instructing this young man. But while worshipping your ego, it will reduce, and in that state of egolessness, you also feed these instructions to your mind. What instructions? About how I have to deal with my parents. Okay? And what is my intent of caring my parents, respecting my parents, protecting my parents, and he gives again the 5 intents that one should keep while handling the parents, while worshipping the eastern direction. So what are those 5 things? The first one is, so they have protected me from my childhood, even when I was in my mother's womb. And now it is a great opportunity for me to pay back that debt. Otherwise, the debt will remain means then it will become a burden for me, it will become a guilt for me, it will become a papa, an evil for me. Anything that has not been paid back, so that is actually evil, that is actually the papa. So, keeping that in the mind, you should feel it as a great opportunity for you to protect and respect and pay back your debt to your parents. That you should keep in your mind. And I shall do their duties. Now they have old, they have their own duties. Like their physical duties, like if they become very old and fragile, then you have to take care of their physical comforts and physical duties also, like making and helping them while they are eating or taking a shower or so many other things which they can't do now. There you have to support them. And so many other things like the family tradition, how to handle the guests when they become old, the parents. Then it is the duty of the young men to handle the guests, handle the relatives, handle the different kinds of people who visit their house, and so many other household activities, the religious activities of the family. All those things one should maintain. One should keep up those family tradition also. That family tradition also. Like he should take the responsibility of the duties of their parents. I shall make myself worthy of my inheritance. So if you are unworthy, if you are a useless person, then you are not worthy of their inheritance. So you should make yourself worthy of their inheritance. That also you should keep in your mind, and accordingly you should worship or respect your parents. So these instructions, and accordingly your actions also should change. And again, all the things should happen out of respect and reverence to your parents. Maintaining the family tradition, keeping up the family tradition, handling their duties, and keeping this in the mind that it is a great opportunity for me to pay back my debt, and then making myself worthy of their inheritance, whatever inheritance that I am going to get from them. I should make myself worthy, I should make myself fit, suitable for their inheritance, worthy of their inheritance. In that way also, if you keep giving instructions to yourself, then accordingly you function, you will not become irresponsible. What is the point here? Then furthermore, I shall offer alms in honor of my departed relatives, departed parents, or departed like ancestors, relatives. In their honor, I have to offer alms, offer dana, alms. That's what in this Punyanamodana program many times I have told. So the debt of the ancestors, parents, grandparents, like it is not easy to pay back. It will remain, because so many things we got from them, knowingly or unknowingly. Whether you became independent from your parents or grandparents, but still always one should have this moral consciousness, this conscience, like I have to pay back the debt to my ancestors, my departed relatives, because so many things. You might have thought I have become independent, I have become completely free from all the debts and the bondages of my family members, my ancestors. No. So many things you have inherited, so you have got it. Many things. Lot of them, a lot of those things will remain in your memory, in your physical memory, in your subconscious memory. They will remain for whatever you got from your ancestors. The physical features that you get from your ancestors also will remain as a physical memory in your body. And also so many behavioral things, spiritual things, so many things, indirectly, consciously or subconsciously you got it. And to pay back those things, this one should do this kind of punyanumodana programs, this patidana, like sharing the merits with your departed relatives. That is very, very essential. In that way also you should pay back show your respect to the eastern direction, remembering these duties that you are supposed to do to your parents and grandparents and the departed relatives. That's what is the intent, that's what is the inner meaning of what your father has instructed you to worship the eastern direction. So worshipping the eastern direction means, like all these 5 intents you should keep in your mind. It is an opportunity for me to pay back my debt to my parents who have taken care of me when I was young, even when I was in my mother's womb. And then you should also keep these, their duties as your duties. You should feel their duties as your duties, the family duties, the family tradition you should keep up. And then you should make yourself fit, worthy for their inheritance, for the inheritance of your parents. And then you should also pay back the debt to your departed relatives, your ancestors. So these 5 things if you keep in your mind, and if you worship the eastern direction, then it makes sense. Otherwise it becomes nonsense. And maybe a few days out of some reverence for your father, you may practice that, then you will forget it. Then you neither practice that as a spiritual thing, then you don't ignore it, you lose interest in it. That is one thing. Second thing is like even the spiritual interest spiritual significance also will go. You will not worship the divine beings who are protecting from the eastern direction. That also will go. And also you will forget about these moral teachings, about your responsibility, your ability to give and give up and progress, both as a responsible householder, responsible spiritual seeker. Both these things will be disconnected if you don't remember these instructions and accordingly worship the eastern direction. So in that way Buddha instructs this young man. Then the next direction that Buddha talks about is the direction, is this, not only that. So if you are of course son, so accordingly you have to worship you have to protect you have to respect your parents. But you are a father also, For this is actually a guideline for all the householders. So if you are a father, then you have some responsibility for your children also. So as a son you have responsibility towards your parents. As a father you have responsibility towards your children. So what are the responsibilities of a father, of a parent? Not only father, even mother also. The responsibilities of a mother or father towards the children. Again, that also Buddha gives like an instruction, because many people, even today, they are completely unaware of their responsibilities. Simply out of some blindness, out of some pressure from the society, they do so many nonsense things, either to the parents or to the children, simply accumulating a lot of wealth, developing a lot of blind attachment to the children in the name of love. So it becomes unnecessary nonsense both for the children and also for the parents. If all our actions are responsibility oriented with some wisdom which is good for both the children and the parents. In that way, if our actions are designed, then it is good for everyone. Out of blind love, out of some kind of blind attachment, if you think that you are caring so much your children, but it may create a lot of problem both to children and also parents. That way, some proper instructions one should keep in the mind when they are caring their children, handling their children, and worshipping the eastern direction. So that should again make a parent to remember these five instructions. As a son, the 5 instructions one should keep when he is taking care of his parents. And as a parent, whether father or mother, one should keep 5 instructions in the mind when taking care of the children or the child. See, one very first point that Buddha is talking about is they restrain their children from evil. That very clarity of what is evil, what is good, that should be very much highlighted in all Buddha's teachings. Sabba papasa akarana, kusalasa upasampada, sachitta paryodapana, yetan buddhana sasana. That's what is all the Buddha's teachings. What is that? Sabba papasa akarana, knowing what is papa, evil. So one should avoid all those things, all those evil things. That is very, very important. Nowadays, so many these free thinking masters, they're talking about, oh, no need to bother about what is moral, what is immoral. But having absolute clarity about what is moral, what is immoral, what is good, what is not good, what is evil, that very clarity and avoiding the evil is very, very crucial. You can't simply mess up everything, thinking that I'm doing something universal good. You should have absolute clarity about what is evil, what is immoral, and how to avoid that immoral. If that is very clear and accordingly you are leading your life, then you are a great person. You are a universal, universal man or universal woman. And simply boasting yourself as universal man and universal woman and indulging in all kinds of immoral things, thinking whatever I do it will be perfectly alright because I am having this universal love. That's what many people they are teaching. Absolute clarity in what is moral, immoral is the best way to express your universal concern. That's what I was studying in the last discourse also, I think. So that is again Buddha highlighting here. So the best way to teach your children, to help your children to grow as a superior individuals, is to help them to know what is wrong and to help them to keep away the wrong things, to keep away the evil things, immoral things. And again in the beginning of the discourse itself, actually Buddha gives the 4 immorals one should keep away. Killing, indulging in sexual misconduct, lying or stealing. These are the 4 immoral things. In no way it will help you. No need to give. Nowadays again many spiritual people, they try to defend these immoral things. And maybe many religious leaders also. Many religious, like say even in the name, the gods also, they do these things and they try to defend this. But Buddha actually completely disapproves this. We should teach our children these 4 things are wrong and help them to avoid these 4 things. Because this, again Buddha gives instruction, these 4 things one will indulge in out of greed, out of hatred, out of folly and out of ignorance only. Not because of anything good in the mind you indulge in these 4 immoral actions. So in these immoral actions, highlighting them and helping the children to avoid those 4 immoral things, that is the best thing and the first thing that one should do as a parent, as a father or mother. If you are providing them, all physical comforts are not, Buddha is giving them the second preference. He's talking that the first and foremost duty of a parent is to protect the child from the evil. To teach him the immoral, what is immoral and how to protect oneself from the immoral, and consciously the parents should protect them from those immoral things. That is the first thing, and helping him to restrain from the evil. That is the first thing that the parents should do. And then the second thing, as I was telling you in this Gatha, Sabba Papasa Karana Kusalasa Upasampada, and making him to know what is right and encouraging him to do the right things. Like protecting the life, and then teaching him what is meritorious actions and helping him to practice those meritorious actions. You might have observed the children and the parents from good families. They encourage their children to give dana to the suitable people, right people. From very kids, infants also, they try to give something to their hand and make him to give dana to the needy people or the suitable people. So in that way, encourage the children to practice these meritorious actions from their very childhood. That is what is Kusala Upasampada. That is what is the best way to train their children. That is the first and foremost duty of the parent. Whatever worldly education they give, whatever worldly physical comforts they give, that comes secondary. The primary thing is making him to know what is immoral and to restrain from the immoral and evil, and making him to know what is moral and encouraging him to do that moral thing. That is what is the prime concern. That is what is the duty of the parents towards their children. In that way, Buddha gives this very powerful instruction to the parents, and that also signifies that the parents taking care of the children, the children taking care of the parents. That comes under this practicing of worship in the eastern direction. Okay. Then, of course, then comes, these are the moral things that Buddha highlights, or the first and foremost thing that parents should do to their children. And second thing comes their education, their profession, they're training them in a suitable profession. So they should be again, they should have that focused profession. Now in the name of education, people learn 1 million things, and then they don't have some focus, that practical exposure to one profession and developing that skillful in that one profession. If they lack in that one, then they will end up in a lot of confusion, a lot of stress in the financial life. That's what is happening in this modern day lifestyle. People have so many options, they are not well versed in one thing, they are not quite proficient and skillful in one profession, and there is a lot of stress that in the profession. There is a lot of insecurity in the profession, a lot of stress in the profession. So that's what is again Buddha is talking about. They should make your children quite proficient, quite skillful in one profession, and so that they can easily take care of their materialistic needs, the physical needs, by practicing that skillful profession. Then of course they should arrange a suitable, they arrange a suitable marriage. That is also important. Finding out a suitable person as a bride, as a son-in-law or daughter-in-law is also the duty of the parents. Nowadays again nobody is bothered about that. They were again out of free will, they are trying to choose their own partners, and they are again facing a lot of problems. So here the elders, the parents, out of their experience, out of their wisdom of who is suitable to whom, if that responsibility of the parents take, then there is a higher process of a harmonious family life, harmonious marriage. That's what is Buddha is suggesting, that it's the duty of the parents again to arrange a suitable marriage. Then at the proper time they hand over their inheritance to them. So it's again not to completely become rigid in handing over the inheritance to the children. At the same time, some parents again They are too loose. They give everything to their children, and if they are bad children, then they will not take care of the parents, and then they have to suffer in their old age. So skillfully one should say hand over their inheritance in a suitable time, suitable time to the suitable children. So that kind of skillfulness also parents should have. That they should not be very stingy, selfish in handing over the inheritance. At the same time, they should not be too lax in their decision to hand over the inheritance. That's what is Buddha's instruction while one handing over the inheritance to their children. So in that way, keeping these instructions in the mind, one should worship this eastern direction, which signifies the responsibilities or the duties of the children to the parents, and also the duties and responsibilities of the parents to the children. So these things if you keep in your mind, and accordingly if you respect the eastern direction, and accordingly you take care of your parents and children, then you are worshipping or respecting the eastern direction. It makes sense. In that way Buddha instructs this young man. Okay. Then comes respecting or worshipping the southern direction, south direction. So south direction, it signifies the duty of a pupil, student to his teachers, or the duty of a householder to his teachers. Of course, for a teacher he is a pupil, but when you see as an instruction to a householder, you can say the duty of a householder is to his teachers, and again the duty of a householder teacher to his students, to his pupils. Those things, that reciprocation from both the sides is discussed. That will signify the southern direction, worshipping the southern direction. It makes sense if you know the duties, your responsibilities, your gifts to the teachers, and the teacher's duties to the pupil. Both these things one should keep in mind when he is worshipping the southern direction, south direction. So what are the points that one should keep in the mind as a pupil, as a householder, while respecting the teachers? So there should, of course, some very, very common etiquette, the behavior also Buddha is talking here. They should stand, they should rise from their seat in a salutation out of respect when he sees his teacher. By attending on him, whatever physical services are required for the teacher, one should attend on that. Washing their feet, or so many other ways of showing the gratitude and respect. So that one should practice. That is the way to respect the teachers. And then by eagerness to learn. If you don't have that eagerness to learn, then automatically the teacher will not get any concern, any affection towards the students. When that true eagerness is not there, that will actually not create a proper relation between a teacher and a student, a pupil. So that's why that eagerness to learn is very much highlighted by Buddha, to become wise, to become intelligent in so many sutras, so many discourses. That inquisitiveness, that eagerness to learn, that is very, very important to become wise, to become successful, to become, either in spiritual progress or in the worldly progress. That eagerness to learn is very, very crucial. That also one should exhibit, that also one should cultivate and exhibit towards his. That is the best way to show respect to your teachers. And then by personal service, whatever personal service is required for the teachers, that also one should take care. His physical requirements, his other physical needs also one should take care of. These personal services also one should render, one should do. Then by respectful behavior and attention while receiving the instructions, you should not be careless. You should be very attentive and respectful when you are receiving the instructions, and you should abide by those instructions. So that's what is the requirement for a successful student, for a good student. One should abide by the instructions of the teacher, and he should be like very respectful. He should have that respectful attention while receiving the instructions. Quite inquisitive, quite eager to, he should be eager to learn the things from the teacher. Those things will impress the teacher. And then only a proper relation is possible between a teacher and the pupil. So in that way Buddha says the responsibilities of a student towards the teacher. At the same time, teacher also has a responsibility towards his student. So what are the responsibilities of the teacher to his students? Again, of course, as a parent, he should see that he should not indulge in the wrong things, and he should encourage them to do the good things. And also he should discipline them. They should train them in the best discipline, best possible discipline. That very discipline will make my mind very powerful and very alert, and that mindfulness comes from discipline only. So in that way, the teacher's duty is to train the student with the best discipline. And also they should see that the lessons are learned properly and they have grasped the lessons properly. If there is some need of repetition, one should repeat the lessons. And also he should see with his skillfulness the things are learned properly by the student, and they should instruct them in the arts and different kinds of arts and sciences. It's not restricting. Of course, in those ancient days the teachers used to teach so many arts and science, so many kinds of skills, and have that overall exposure to the different knowledges, not restricting the students, confining the students to only one thing and making them like one like some kind of bookworms, or learning only one thing and losing all other things, especially in their growing period. The duty of these worldly teachers is to see that they should learn as many things as possible. In one more discourse, Buddha says that they should be exposed to as many skills, as many subjects as possible. So there was an organization, they started some schools where the students were supposed to learn so many sports, so many languages, so many cultures, so many subjects, so many sciences, so many arts, so many art subjects, art skills. They try to expose the children to as many as possible. And I have seen some young children, they used to speak in 8 to 10 languages. They could pick up 8 to 10 languages in the very early age. By 10 to 12 years of age, they used to pick up some 8 to 10 languages. Then they become, like say, Bahusutta, like learning many things during their young age is always good. So in that way, the skillful teacher should impart as many skillful things as possible, both in arts and science. So that's what is the recommendation or the instruction by Buddha to the teachers. And then they introduce them to their friends and associates. The student should be introduced to the friends of the teachers and their associates, so that again he will be exposed to so many things. The student will be exposed to so many things. And they provide their safety in every quarter, and also it's the duty of the teacher to provide some safety also. When they are having some danger from different parts of the different corners of the world or the society, then because of his maturity or experience in the life, the teacher should provide the safety and security also to the student. So that is the duty of the teacher. So the teacher and pupil, pupil to teacher, teacher to pupil, that relation and the intent that the duties So this southern direction signifies that people-teacher relationship and the duties. So then comes the western direction. So in the western direction, so he's talking about, Buddha is talking about the duties of a husband to the wife and the wife to the husband. Again, that is also one relation that one should be respected, one should be given a lot of importance. So what are the duties of the husband towards wife and the duties of wife towards husband? That is discussed in this respecting or worshipping the western direction. So what are the duties of the husband to the wife? He should be courteous to her. He should not like try to command. The wife is not like a servant. Of course, in the ancient days that was, many people used to have, you see here Buddha how he talks about the importance of the women. In many cultures, the domination of the men, it was there. Now of course it is not there much. And and Buddha talks about he should be courteous. He should say, he should be quite kind enough to the wife, and then he should not be of a despising to her. He should not despise her. He should not show his angst or despise towards the wife. He should restrain himself from that kind of evil feelings. Again, giving importance to that relation. By respect, he has to respect that relation. It is not like one very menial relation. It is the superior relation, the relation between husband and wife, and he should not despise her so that he can respect that relation. By being faithful to her, not cheating her. This husband and wife, that is very special relation. Then if he cheats her by having other relation with some other person, then that will become sexual misconduct, or it is like kames michachara. So that will again disrespecting that very relation. Then it will create a lot of problems in the family. So that's why one should be faithful to her. By handing over authority to her in the house, she is the boss, she is the authority. A lot of responsibility and authority should be given to the wife to take care of some household activities, household things. Some authority should be given to the wife also. One should not take the complete authority of handling the house or his job, everything. He should not take the complete authority. Then it's not a good relation. It will not lead to a harmonious relation and successful relation between husband and wife. And by providing her with adornments. After all, the wife, so they expect adornments, and one should provide her with the adornments. So that is what is one more responsibility of a husband towards his wife. Then what are the responsibilities of the wife towards her husband? She performs her duties well, the household duties as a wife. Again, like the son taking care of the responsibilities of the family, of the parents, of the tradition, all those things, she should take the responsibility as a wife. So that is what is, she performs her duties well. And then she is hospitable to relations and attendants. She should be quite hospitable to all the relatives, relations who come, who visit their house, and also the attendants who visit their house, who are in their house. So in that way, she should be like a leader for all the household duties and household people. The wife, she also again, she should be faithful to the husband. She should also not indulge in any kind of misconduct. So that is again important. That is again the duty of a wife towards her husband. She protects what he brings. That is again the duty of a wife. All the possessions that are made by the husband, what are the different things that are brought by the husband to the house, she should protect it. She should not be a spendthrift, or she should not ignore, or she should not be careless towards the possessions and the things that are brought by the husband to the house. She should protect them, take care of them. She is skilled and industrious in discharging her duties. She should be quite skillful in all those household activities. She should develop that skillfulness, and she should be industrious. She should like hardworking, and she should put forth all her energy in performing all these household activities, household responsibilities. So that is again the duties of the wife towards the husband. So the duties of the husband towards the wife and the wife towards the husband, they signify this Western direction signifies these duties, the mutual duties of husband and wife. So in that way, if you instruct yourself about your duties towards your wife, and in the same way your wife towards you, then you are respecting the Western direction. It makes sense. Otherwise it is nonsense. In that way Buddha explains about worshipping the Western direction towards to this young man, Sigalaka. Then about the northern direction. So you are respecting you are worshipping, you are prostrating towards the northern direction. What does it indicate? So these things again keep in your mind when you are respecting the northern directions. What is that? So it signifies, it indicates what a clansman, that means a householder, should minister to his friends and associates. The friends and associates, actually how one should behave. So that is like signified by, signified by your respect to or your worshipping of the northern direction. You should be quite liberal with your friends and associates. If you are stingy towards your friend, then you can't build that relation, that friendship you can't build. You should be quite liberal in your relation with your friends and associates. And you should have a courteous speech with your friends and associates. Your speech also should not be like strict, like the way you talk with your servants or your subordinates. No, you should be like quite courteous in your speech also. In your behavior, physical actions also you should be courteous and liberal. In your speech also you should be courteous and liberal. And by being helpful, whenever they need help, you should be quite mindful about when they need the help, and accordingly you should timely help also. You should learn how to render to your friends and associates. By being impartial, so again that impartiality among the friends, that's also, and associates also important. So if you are quite partial, then your friendship will not become strong. It should not become a fair friendship. Then by sincerity, keeping up the promises, keeping up your words and promises, that kind of sincerity also you should have to have a superior, a better friendship. So that is the responsibility of a person towards his friends and associates. And what are the duties of the friends and associates towards the person, towards this person? They protect him when he is heedless. The duty of a friend, of course, friend to a friend, is to protect him when he is heedless. Out of some heedlessness, when they are in some danger, the duty of a friend is to protect him. They protect his property when he is heedless. Not only protecting him, even his property also the friend should protect. They become a refuge when he is in danger. When he has some danger, and his family, his possessions, they should protect him. They should behave they should act as a refuge. They do not forsake him in his troubles. Of course, all these things will indicate that different kinds of troubles and danger, the friend should stand for him, stand by him in the best possible way. Then only he is a good friend. They show consideration for his family also. Not only him, his possessions, his intentions, his family, his profession, everywhere the friend should stand by him. That is the duty of a friend. That way, one should remember about the duty of a friend to his associates and the duty of his associates to the friend. So that is the best way to worship the northern direction. So in that way, Buddha explains, like say, for the eastern direction, the parents and the children relation, the southern direction, the teacher and the pupil relation, the western direction, the wife and the husband relation, the northern direction, the friend and the friend relation. So these different relations that one has to go through in as a lay person. So how he can handle these relations, that will make a superior sense than blindly worshipping these four directions. Of course, if you want to worship, definitely you can worship. It will make you more disciplined, and the divine beings from these different directions also, they will protect you. But when you have these superior intentions in your mind, then you will get protection from all corners, from within, from without. So these superior intentions, these correct intentions you should keep in your mind when you are worshipping these different directions. In that way, Buddha explains. And then the two more directions. One is the nadir, that means the downward direction. When you are worshipping, you should remember how you have to deal with your servants and your workers. And when you are worshipping the northern direction, you should, upward direction, not northern, upward direction. So that is called zenith. Then you should remember how to handle the spiritual teachers, the monks, the ascetics, the Brahmins and the ascetics. Those times, of course, the shamans and Brahmins. Shamans means like generally like monks, renunciates. They were called shamans. And the Brahmins also, some of them were renunciates, but more they are completely into the spiritual practices. So those groups were called the Brahmins and shamans. So Buddha talking about how to handle them, how to respect them, how to take care of them. That is also the duty of a householder. So these, first we will see this nadir. Nadir means the downward direction. That means how to take care of the servants and the workers of your family, of your house. In 5 ways should a master minister his servants and employees as the nadir. That means downward direction. By assigning them work according to their ability. One should assess, one should gauge their abilities, and accordingly one should assign the work. Not overburdening them, at the same time not to give them less work. According to their ability, one should give the proper work, right amount of work. Then by supplying them with food and wages, proper food and proper wages he should provide. That is the duty of the master towards his employees or towards his workers or towards his servants. By tending them in sickness, when they are sick, some extra allowance or some extra service, some extra, so whatever he can do as a master, he should tend them when they are sick. And then all these things, they look like very simple tips, but one should apply them. Then he can see the beauty in that relation, the success in that relation, the master's duty towards the servants and the employees. By sharing with them any delicacies, some good food he is eating, some delicacy he is having, he should share it with the servants and the employees. It also looks very simple, but still it has some tremendous impact. Sharing some nice things which they have not seen, which may be difficult for them to afford. If you share such nice things, giving them some small ride when you have some good vehicle, all these simple tips, simple practices, it will build a strong relation between the parents and the masters and the servants. I remember this Abdul Kalam when one of his, say, juniors, one of his assistants, when he was busy in his, in his research work, in his work in the office, but he had promised his children that he will go back to his house little early and he will take them to some entertainment, some circus or something like that. So this Abdul Kalam knew that, but he knew that this person is quite busy and he is like that responsibility of finishing some task in the laboratory. Then he only went to his house and he took his children to some circus or some entertainment. So that kind of small things, it had a great impact on this, on his assistant. And of course, that assistant, he used to share his greatness of his boss, this Abdul Kalam. So though it's a very simple thing that Abdul Kalam did, but it has a tremendous impact on the people, on other assistants, other people, his family. And he became a very good worker, very good, assistant to Abdul Kalam. So in that way, these small things only, small things that they can't afford. If the boss does, if the master does, then it will create a very beautiful relation, very strong relation. And what the thing that Buddha is talking about, some delicacies, you should learn to share it with your employees and the servants. Then it will create a good impression. By granting them leave at times, suitable times, one should learn to grant the leave also. Again, you see the kindness, the mindfulness, a blend of kindness and mindfulness is recommended in all these tips. The compassion and wisdom is required from both the sides. From parents to children, children to parents, from teacher to students, students to teachers, husband to wife, wife to husband, friend to friend, and then a master to servants, servants to master. The same matured mind with compassion, mind with wisdom, mind with that mindfulness and skillfulness, and mind with some concern and compassion. That is very much recommended in all these different tips. The art of giving and giving up, the sense of Four Noble Truths, if you have understood, then cultivating this compassion and wisdom becomes easy. And when you cultivate compassion and wisdom and handling these different kinds of people that you have to go through, come across in the life, each and every day, it becomes easy. That's why everything boils down to this mind culture. And mind culture based on these Four Noble Truths, mind culture based on this law of cause and effect, mind culture based on this right view. If you practice, then automatically you can easily understand all these tips, and you can easily appreciate all these tips, and you can easily practice all these tips. That is the beauty of these tips. Then what are the duties of the servants and employees towards their master? So again, it's not just one way, it is both ways for a good relation. This both way, these responsibilities one should know. They should rise before the master, before him. The servants and the employees should rise. Of course, he is talking about the employees and servants inside the house. So the servants and the employees should rise before the master. They go to sleep after the master, after him. So that shows like your respect and your responsibility and your concern. The same thing holds good in an office also. The employees should come to the office before the boss comes, and they should leave the office after the boss leaves. Then only such kind of organization, company, it will flourish, it will prosper. And they go to sleep after him. They take only what is given. Yeah, they should not take anything that is not given to them in the office or in the house. Then again, that will build a strong relation, good trustworthiness. One should build the trustworthiness. That is again the duty of an employee. So that how he can build the trustworthiness, he should take what is given to him. That's all. He should not take what is not given to him. That is the best way to build the trustworthiness. They perform their duties well. They should be quite skillful in their duties, whatever duties they have to. Like I used to explain this in the success steps, taking it as my choice and owning the duties as their own duty in the office or in the house, and doing it with complete involvement, with complete energy, skillfulness, intelligence, performing their duties. They uphold his good name and fame. They should uphold, that is again the responsibility. They should bring name and fame to the master. Then only he is a good employee. They should uphold his name, his good name and fame. So that is again the duty of the servants to employees to his master, their master. So that is how you should remember when you are worshipping the downward direction, the nadir. So in that way Buddha instructs this young man, this Sigala. Then again, how one should respect the spiritual people, like the Shramans and Brahmans, like these completely spiritual people, the spiritual teachers, absolutely, completely spiritual masters. So, what is the way? How you should respect the spiritual masters? By lovable deeds, they should do even small or big things which are lovable, which are quite appreciated by these spiritual masters. You should gauge what exactly they require, and accordingly they should perform with that humbleness, with that lovability, all those deeds. By lovable words, they should be kindful and respectful to these spiritual masters, the ascetics and Brahmins. And by lovable thoughts, they should always have very pleasant thoughts, very metta thoughts towards the spiritual people, these ascetics, Shramans and Brahmins. That's why I was telling you, so when you are giving metta, generally it is easy to give metta to the spiritual masters, especially the master who is teaching them the spiritual techniques. It is very easy to give metta. That lovability you should have, definitely you should have towards the spiritual people. Otherwise you will not be connected to the higher levels of spirituality, and all your other relations will be it will become weaker. It will not get strength if your connection with the superior spiritual qualities is not properly established. Then your connection with other people also will become weak. That's why. So you should be lovable in your thoughts, words and deeds towards the ascetics and Brahmins. By keeping open house to them, you should have that receptivity. You should always invite the spiritual people to your house. Keep your house open to them. The spiritual masters, then only you will flourish, then only you will get that spiritual connection. That is the best way that you should show your concern to spirituality and spiritual masters like ascetics and Brahmins. Here, of course, Brahmins, you don't take it as a caste here. It is like those who are working for some superior quality, superior spiritual things. Shramans or ascetic means those who are working for the ultimate liberation. And Brahmins means those who are working for the Brahmic, very, very superior divine realms. So then only you get the connection to the superiority of Nibbana or these Brahmic realms. Then definitely you should practice these things. You should be lovable. You should see how best you are humble and respectful in your acts, in your deeds, in your words and your thoughts. That is one thing. And the next thing is you should keep your house open to your spiritual teachers or these ascetics and Brahmins. Then you will get that easy connection to those superior ideals or superior wisdom in the life. Then you should supply by supplying their material needs. Again, it's the duty of the householders to give all the material needs, to supply all the material needs to these ascetics. Like these monks and ascetics, no, they're like they're dependent for their material needs on the lay people, householders, and it's the duty of the householders to supply all the materialistic and of course in return they give you the spiritual benefits and you should give the material benefits to the these ascetics, these shamans or ascetics or spiritual, absolutely spiritual people. There is one incident happened during the time of Buddha. There was one person, one millionaire by name Anatha Pindika, and he used to provide a lot of material requirements to Buddha and his community. But once he became very poor, unfortunately his business, he faced a lot of problems in his business. For a short time he became a bit poor, very poor. Lot of losses he has to accrue in his business, he has to go through. And that time also, his intention to support Buddha, it has not diminished. And he carried 2 handfuls of fertile soil from his garden to Buddha's place, and he just gave that to one of the trees in Buddha's place, in Buddha's monastery. Whatever. So that is the point here is providing the material needs to the monks, to the spiritual people, absolutely spiritual ascetics, is the duty of the householders. Then only that society, that nation, that country will flourish, it will become prosper. Then only a lot of balance in the spiritual growth and the materialistic growth will happen in that place, in that society, in that country, and that country will flourish. That's why India is always, like say, there is some emphasis on this balanced material and spiritual growth is very much there in India. And that's why it will not completely get carried away in the so-called materialistic growth. Because Indians, they know the importance of sustainability and importance of spiritual growth also in a society, in the country. So that's why the householder's duty is to support materially also, these spiritual people, the religious people, the religious teachers. Okay. Then what is the duty of these religious teachers towards the people, towards the householders? They should restrain them again from the evil, just like the parents or the other teachers and the spiritual teachers, with much more clarity, with much more conviction. They should protect the people, householders, from the evil. Again, like this, by teaching them what not to do, like indulging in violence, indulging in sexual misconduct, indulging in this stealing and lying. All these 4 things that one should definitely correctly, authoritatively should teach them, and he should restrain the people from these things. And also he should teach the spiritual people about the causes of these immoral things that one's own mind that causes, like the greed, hatred, folly, and this delusion. From these things one should not think, and based on that thinking one should not take up any action. So in that way, if he teaches, then that is his duty to the householders. They persuade him to do good. What are the good things? Like meritorious actions. Always the ascetics should persuade the people to practice these meritorious actions. This dana, shila, bhavana, meditation, service, Apachayana, Punyanumodana, all these things they should encourage the lay people to practice. And they should be again very kindful to the householders, have some kindness. Of course, in their words they may show some kind of strict or rigidness, some stubbornness when they are doing some evil, when they are into some evil behavior. Then they should mend them, they should curtail them, they should punish them also. The householders should be punished with some strong words also by these spiritual people, ascetic people. They clarify what he has already heard, and they should teach him what he has not heard. Some good things, nice things they should teach him through this kind of different discourses and all. And then also they should clarify, if they have some doubt, they should clarify their doubts about spiritual life, about spiritual progress, and about applying the spiritual knowledge in the worldly life. If they have some doubts, they should clarify. And then they point out the path to a heavenly state and the Brahmic state and the liberation, the Nibbanic state. That they should know, they should teach, of course, these different superior states of happiness, the heavenly happiness, the Brahmic happiness and the Nibbanic happiness. And slowly, step by step, they should train them, they should teach them into these superior happiness levels. That is again the duty of the shamans and Brahmins towards the householders. So in that way, Buddha gives instructions to this Sigala, this householder. And again, what are the different ways and means? Again, the 6 ways and means to avoid wasting of the resources. Again, that is also an important thing. That maybe some other time we will see. Now, these 6 directions indicating the behavior or the way the householder has to deal with 6 kinds of people that he generally come across in day-to-day life, like the parents, the parents' duty to children, children duty to the parents. That one should remember when he is worshipping the eastern direction. Then the southern direction is the teachers who teach the worldly things, like different skills, different subjects, different arts and science. Their duty to the students duty to the teachers. This southern direction signifies. Then the western direction, wife's duty to the husband, husband's duty to the wife. Then the northern direction, the friend's duty to the friends and associates, duty of a householder to his friends and associates, and the friends and associates' duty to the householder. That is like your northern direction. And then the lower directions, downward direction. If you are worshipping, then you should remember the different intentions that you should cultivate in your mind and accordingly act towards your servants, and servants' duty to the boss or to the master. Of course, these roles will actually, you should take all these opposite roles. Sometimes you have to be servant, sometimes you have to be boss. So at that time, as a servant, what you should do towards your boss, and as a boss, what you have to do towards your servant. Those ideas should come to you when you are worshipping the this downward direction, this nadir, and the upward direction, the zenith. When you are worshipping the zenith, the upper direction, then you should remember, as a spiritual master, if you are a spiritual master, your duty towards the householder, and if you are a householder, your duties to the spiritual master. Those ideas, those things should come to your mind when you are worshipping the zenith, the upward direction. In that way, Buddha instructs to this Sigala, and he became very happy, and he became a disciple for lifelong to Buddha. So in that way, this sutta is there, and the other aspect that I told you, and a few more things also Buddha teaches to him, the different qualities of a good friend, that also has a tremendous impact on one's worldly life. As a householder, one should have some good friends, and how to select the good friends, how to avoid the wrong friends, what are the different qualities of the good friends. All those things are also explained by Buddha, in addition to the different ways and means of protecting one's own sources and resources. Those things we will see in the maybe some other time, next time or some other time. So that's about this Sigalaka Sutta. Yeah, he became a lifelong disciple of Buddha. He requested Buddha to accept him as the lifelong disciple. So that is about this Sigalaka Sutta. If you have some quick questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll conclude with one small chanting. If no questions, we'll conclude with one small chanting. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te sukhi bhaveyang nidduko aham nicca aham viya hidacha me sukhi hontu majjata chatavedino imam hi gammante dhamme satta hontu sukhi sada tato paranchara jesu chakkavale sujantano. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sukhi hontu, mangal ho. May all of you be happy, healthy and peaceful. May all beings also be happy, healthy and peaceful. Sukhi hontu.